Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Farid Basharat versus Blackshear. Farid is making his UFC debut. He's the brother of Javid Basharat, who is kicking ass inside the octagon. And he's a 25-year-old with a bright future. 9-0, 1 KO victory, 5 submissions, 3 decisions. The 1 KO comes from a head kick in like 15 seconds. He's not the most powerful guy, but he is a very good striker. He definitely is, and he's going to get better. He does have another knockdown with a head kick against the Italian guy. But yeah, again, he's not the most powerful guy. Still, very technical when he's got his hands up. Sometimes he doesn't have his fucking hands up. But when he's not showboating, yeah, he's very technical. And he's really expected to win this fight. 5-1 favorite, pretty much, against Blackshear. Blackshear's 0-1 in the UFC, 12-4-1 overall. The one draw in the UFC is Youssef Zalal. It was his last fight. He took it on 10 days' notice, I think, and he gassed. That's why I went to a draw. He had nothing in round 3, but he was able to survive. And he was also able to bank enough in those first 2 rounds, neutralizing and controlling Youssef, where he got the draw, and one judge, I believe, gave him the victory. Not the best result on paper, especially with Youssef Zalal being cut after that draw, but still, they gave him another shot for a reason. It was a forgivable performance and result, and still, altogether, it's not that bad of a result, in my opinion. Having that kind of fight with Youssef Zalal. Youssef, even though he's not the most experienced guy, he proved to be a very good fighter, even at the UFC level. Tough to put away, and a scrapper. And Blackshear was not only able to steal 2 rounds from him, but he was able to survive when he had nothing left. And that's consistent with his record. I mean, he's got 4 losses in his 12-4 record, or 12-4-1. And the 4 losses are all to really good fighters. He lost early on to this guy, Keith Richardson, who doesn't really have a name in MMA, no profile really, but he is a good fighter. And he was definitely a tough test based on experience alone at the time for Blackshear. Then he lost to Chris Moutinho, who is not the greatest fighter, of course, but he made it to the UFC, and I think he's going to be back because I'm pretty sure he's on the Ultimate Fighter, McGregor versus Chandler. And then he lost recently to Danny Sabatello and Pat Sabatini. 2 guys that are kicking ass and taking names in Bellator and the UFC. Generally, if Blackshear is not out-wrestled or outgunned in the wrestling department, he wins the fight. And usually he's got a shot at winning the fight, at least, if he's not outgunned wrestling-wise. And I don't think he is here. I think these odds are way off. Basharat looks really good. Really good. There's no weaknesses to him yet. Nothing obvious. But Blackshear can exploit even the most, the smallest weakness. Just, pinning you against the cage. Riding you. Grinding you out. And I think that's what he's going to look to do in his moments of offense. Because on the feet, he's going to be beaten to the punch, even though he's got 2 inches of height, 1 inch of reach. Farid Basharat is a very good striker. Again, when he's got his hands up. And Blackshear, he doesn't have the knockout power to make Farid Basharat pay. Both these guys only have 1 TKO victory or KO. Basharat's is actually a legit KO. Blackshear's isn't. But he does have 8 submissions in his 12 victories, and those come all over the place. I believe 1 is in round 1, 4 in round 2, 2 in round 3, and even 1 in round 4 to Elon Cruz, who was in the UFC some time ago. So, he's a guy who wants to drag you into deep waters, Blackshear. And you could see it when you watch him fight. Again, the Youssef Zalal fight's the only fight where he doesn't look that way. And, of course, in his losses, too. He was just outgunned in the wrestling department. But he's a guy that is meant to exploit these newcomers. And while I can't say, gun to my head, I'd pick him to win, I'm absolutely betting on him. Plus 750 hit for him to win a decision. And then round 2, plus 2,000. Round 3, plus 3,300 for him to win flat. The submission props are like, almost exactly the same. So you may as well bet that if you're going to bet it. But I think there's a good chance for something like that. It's just a matter of experience and durability. The guy's never been taken out, so I expect him to be there. Generally, he fights good later, which so does Basharat, by the way. He's got 2 finishes of his 5 subs anyway. He's got 2 in round 2, 2 in round 3. But it's over weaker competition. And I just think Damon Blackshear, while he's maybe not the better pick, he's the better bet. So I'm betting on Damon Blackshear. You asked me to give a prediction. I guess I'd go Basharat. I do trust he's able. I know for sure he's the better striker. I know it. So I think he would, he's got a most obvious path to scoring points. But it's a matter of that wrestling. Who's going to win that wrestling battle? How are Damon Blackshear's entries going to be? Because Basharat, even though he's not the greatest wrestler, I don't think, he is very tough to wrangle, to corner, again, when he's fighting seriously. So I'm going to bet on Damon Blackshear. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit. Check out my other videos.